the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown run.
And everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
A good Tuesday evening out there to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Glad you've joined us here on this Tuesday evening. We'll be here with you for a couple of hours, as we are every single week, so we'd love to hear from you. 256-234-6221 to be on the program by phone, or you can comment away on Facebook Live. Just like a lot of you do every week, we appreciate it. It gives you an opportunity to interact throughout the entire program and kind of shoot the breeze with us on all the different stuff. Man, you know, it's really an odd time because there's a lot to talk about tonight, Luke. And usually it's kind of when you roll into the first week of July or the end of June like we are right now, this is usually really the deadest part of the year for all of us.
It is, but this year what's kind of good is we do have a lot to talk about. Another SEC team wins the the national championship in baseball. There's a lot going on, obviously, in recruiting, NIL stuff. One of the biggest, most hype recruits in the last several years has committed to Texas. We'll talk about that. But, you know, next week will be July 4th week. I assume we'll have a
have a replay
show.
Right.
And so after that, when the SEC media days gets kicked off,
it'll be here.
It'll be here. And so that, to me, like I'm always struggling to get past July 4th. I feel like if I get past July 4th, I'm good. I've said a million times, summer is my least favorite season. Although I got to say, this summer, while it was scorching, god-awful, dashboard melting hot for a few days, today was awesome.
No, today was, I mean, when you get a few clouds
and
a breeze maybe for a little while,
and just a little sprinkle towards the end to sort of take the edge off.
My God, it's been so hot. We had the state championship fishing tournament on Lake Neely Henry up in Gadsden this past week. And, dude, I've been fishing – Luke, you know I've been fishing for over 30 years. And this was the most brutal heat that I've ever endured fishing, and especially those kids. And it was tough fishing for most everybody and a struggle, but that's part of it. You know, in fishing, outdoor sports, you don't get the chance to choose when you want to go out there. You got to deal with what Mother Nature throws at you.
Did y'all put worms or did y'all put ice cubes on the hook?
I
put an ice cube on the hook, you would have caught Luke.
No doubt. I think you'd have caught more than a fish. Everybody was trying to scrounge. Ice was in in high demand up there for sure. But anyway, the heat's been brutal, but it is coming up, 4th of July week. We do want to say, you know, it's a fun holiday for everybody. It's kind of the peak of the summer. Especially here where we live on Lake Martin, and there's a lot of lakes around the state. People get out and celebrate, get out and, you know, kind of cruise, kind of park. There'll be a lot of parking, I think, this year with gas being $6 a gallon on the lake. And, you know, won't be a lot of burning, you know, the lake up, going up and down from north to south. You'll find you a beach somewhere and you'll park. But again, it's a fun time. But you're right. It's kind of the rite of passage for football. You kind of flip the page and you start focusing on what's coming up, and then when you get past media days, we start talking about practice, and then we get into the games. I mean, it'll be here. Ole Miss does win the College World Series. You just talked about Arch Manning going to Texas. Bill Clark resigns. That caught everybody off guard, I think. We'll talk about that. The NBA draft, huge NBA draft there. We'll talk about that. Of course, your favorite sport, Luke, Major League Baseball. We'll throw some football talk in there, always football talk, and then Wimbledon. Big fan of Wimbledon?
I am a big fan of it, but it's hard for me to get into tennis right this moment, although that is, of all the sports played, that's the one I play now. But it's difficult. I mean, tennis is such a poor job of marketing itself. And it just, you don't know anybody.
It's an afterthought.
It really is. And I go back to what it was about 1991, 1992 when Sports Illustrated said, "Is tennis dead?" And I guess it wasn't dead in that moment. But
I'll tell you another sport
without the Williams sisters, it probably is dead.
Well, who was the last good American male? Was it Pete Sampras?
Pete Sampras, that's where I was going to go. That's
how
what I'm
long
thinking.
ago was that daggum
Yeah.
been? You know, they tried to make
Andre Agassi?
No, Andre Agassi was before
Before Sampras.
Yeah, but who was that they tried to make? There was a kid, Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick, yeah.
He just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He just never could get it. He had an unbelievable serve, and but just could never grasp it. But, you know, what Pete Sampras did, and, you know, who else? Who were some of the other ones? Andre Agassi, obviously. But there's been some really stellar male players from the United States. And so, and you're right, the Williams sisters really carried the banner for the U.S. for forever. You know, they're not getting any younger. And so, you know,
Venus,
she's out. She retired. So
she's done.
And Serena, there was a surprise that she was coming back, right?
Yeah, she's still like you don't want to see her in your bracket at the same
No,
time.
no.
Sort of like playing Notre Dame in the.
That's right.
You know, and you don't want to see them on your schedule necessarily because you know it's probably going to be a fight, but at the same time,
But it ain't the same Serena. It's not the same Serena.
But yeah, I think the men. You look at somebody like Djokovic, who I enjoy.
Jim Courier was a good one.
Yeah, Jim Courier.
Jim Courier won a bunch. Pete Sampras won.
Rafael Nadal still, pretty good, especially on clay. But
Federer, is Federer out now? Is he retired?
Boy, honestly, Brett, I don't know the answer. And that's again, I go
and
back
say
to
Roger Federer is really like the Tiger Woods of tennis. You know, as Tiger Woods is to golf, Federer was to
and
tennis. And I don't know either. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, usually growing up, I could name all of them.
Well, listen, I think
know we got a call,
if you,
so.
yeah, but going back to when you're growing up, you got Chris Everett and Martina Navratilova.
That's right.
All Monica Seles, and you can just run down.
just keep
and there were a
running
ton
off.
of them. And now I just mentioned a lot of females because that's always been the more interesting tennis to me. But
See,
anyway,
then Boris, I can rip off
Boris
Boris
Becker,
Becker
yeah.
and Yvonne Lindell and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can name a bunch of those guys.
there were some
John
dudes.
McEnroe.
Caller on the air. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm a big fan of Dansby, number 7 on the Blaze.
Dansby Swanson.
Okay.
Yes. And the thing I like about him, he's a good sportsmanship.
That's really good. Yeah, right.
And he always gets his players hyped up and everything.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 14.
Oh,
deal.
awesome. Okay. Well, good. If we ever have the pleasure of meeting Dansby Swanson, we will pass that along.
Who we talking to?
Thank you.
Who we talking to?
Addison Wilson.
All right,
right,
Addison.
Addison.
Hey, Addison, thanks for calling. We
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
You
too.
You too. What a great
Well, man,
call.
that's it.
Yeah, what a great call.
Boy, manners and sportsmanship. Who would have maybe that generational savings.
Hey, where's all that been?
I know.
You know, we don't normally get calls like that. So it's just a pleasure to get that call. Hey, Addison, thank you for such a great opening call for our show. But going back to, I know we kind of got off, but talking about Wimbledon, around the 4th of July, it's always a popular thing. It's on NBC. But you're right. I mean, there is no Agassi anymore. There is no Sampras. There's nobody to kind of – and right now, Djokovic is really kind of the lone guy that's kind of been carrying the banner for tennis. And
Brett, there's no villain.
That's
you know
right.
how I feel about
Right,
that. You
right.
got to have a villain.
Right.
There's no good story without a villain.
wasn't he kind of the villain there for a while?
I think he was, but now he's sort of lapped over and everybody likes him. I mean, it's
Well, how dare everybody?
I mean,
Quit being so nice.
well, and he's not very boy,
He's
at
not
least
a
on the
warm
court.
and fuzzy guy. But
He's
I mean,
not real charismatic. I'd
No,
say.
he's not. He's not.
And there's nobody you can wrap your hands around. There's nobody that you want to say.
I'll tell you another sport I think is dead is boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, okay, I get it. You know, Deontay Wilder's from Alabama, but does anybody else know?
If Deontay Wilder weren't from Alabama, we wouldn't be paying attention.
We wouldn't know. I mean, but you and I growing up, the whole time in heavyweight boxing, we knew the players, and when there was a boxing match, it was a big deal. Now
Tyson was on the cover of Sports Illustrated
That's
all
right.
through my teenage
Now
years.
this Tyson Fury, I mean, it's like, well, okay. No, I think MMA's stolen a little bit of the thunder of boxing as well. But, tennis and boxing, hey, that's a good little comment. Is there another sport out there? I think NASCAR's died a lot. I think NASCAR is a sport that man, in the 90s was at its peak. It was rolling, man. I mean, it was so many known drivers. And then as it drifted into the 2000s, it started losing its steam. I remember talking about it on our program and more women following NASCAR than they did about any other sport. And then all of a sudden it just kind of died off. So there's some sports right now that are hurting, man.
Yeah, well, one sport I think you probably could eventually put into that category is college baseball, even though Ole Miss won. We talked about it off air. Look, what we discovered, congrats to Ole Miss. I was pulling for Ole Miss. I really was. I wanted an SEC team to win it, and Ole Miss won it. So I'm thrilled about that part.
You had a 50% chance.
Yeah.
Four
but
of the
now,
teams there
here's
were.
the part that I'm not happy about is that let me just name the teams that made the championship, made the College World Series, that didn't host a super regional. Auburn, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas. Who did Ole Miss even play? They played Oklahoma. I'm missing some others.
In Texas A&M.
But they hosted a super regional, I think. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
they did. College
They did.
Station.
So,
Well, and
Notre Dame.
Stanford hosted.
Yeah, Stanford hosted, but they easily should have been out.
That's right.
They had to beg, borrow, steal to beat UConn.
I know.
Notre Dame.
That's
so they
right.
at least five. What's the other team that was in that I'm not remembering?
Arkansas. You didn't name
Arkansas. They hosted a super regional. Okay, so 5 of the 8 didn't even host a super regional. So my point is, all these unseeded teams are in, and there's some people like Danny Cannell saying this is great. Well, if this is great, let's just let everybody in.
Well, and let me say this now. There's 16 national seeds, and majority of those teams that were in the College World Series at least hosted a regional. Now you're going to have to go to the higher regional or higher seed for the super regional. The only way Auburn was going to host is if Oregon State had gotten upset. If Vanderbilt had beaten them, then Vanderbilt would have come to Auburn. And so, I'm not so much going to base, this off the super regionals. If you get to super regional and you win that regional, especially if you go on the road, to me that says a lot more about it than it does you hosting. Because I'm going to tell you, man, Auburn went and they beat a phenomenal baseball team in Oregon State.
My point is that teams that weren't
Now,
of the higher
Ole Miss
seed.
is a whole different story.
Well,
they were the 4 seed.
How about Oklahoma?
They were the 4 seed. Well, true, but
they were the 3 seed, weren't they? Weren't Oklahoma the 4? I mean, Ole Miss the 3 seed. I think they were.
Okay, may have been the 3,
Yeah.
3 or 4 in Coral Gables.
Yeah.
They win that regional. Then they have to go and play in the super regional at Southern Miss, and just blew them away. And then they come back. They were playing the hottest baseball. I told you off air. Now again, the graphic they put out really kind of diminishes in my eyes what they accomplished. They were kind of bragging. Hey, we had a 14-16 record in conference. Hey, we got put out in the first round of the SEC tournament. Hey, we went and barely got in the tournament. We were the last team in. Oh, we won the national championship, by the way. It was kind of like, we suck, we won. And it's like, I don't know that really appeal. I mean, it may appeal to a lot of people. To me, when I read it, I was like, that's just – is that what we want as a national champion? Now, look, they got in and they won it. But the thing is, to me, how you got there.
I agree.
And so, yes, should you just roll – I don't think there's a right – I guess I'm talking in circles. There's not a right answer to this thing, because if you got a tournament and you're going to let X number of teams in – now, Oregon State, I'll use Oregon State for example. Why should they just be granted a free pass to Omaha? Because they've had such a stellar year.
But Brett, I'm going to stop you there and say they're not. In my scenario, they wouldn't be granted a free pass. They were the 3 seed,
They
right?
were the 3
overall
seed,
nationally,
yes.
and they ended up having to play the 14 seed. And I said that I thought it was unfair for both Auburn and for Oregon State. They had to play each other. But
Right.
forget that for a moment. I think that was a good battle. It's hard when you have so many baseball teams to really judge who the top 20 are. Now, you have a good idea. You feel good about Tennessee and whatever, but
Right.
It's really hard to judge the top 20 are. So I say if you cut this field in half, you have a more viable representation of who deserves to be there. And I think it's a combination of best team plus who deserves to be there. And I hate that. I
don't think anybody would say Ole Miss deserved to be there.
No, I'm pro Ole Miss winning this thing. I am happy for Ole Miss. I know some Ole Miss people, and I am thrilled for them. And I think it's super cool that Mississippi State wins it, Ole Miss wins it the next year. That's bananas.
Mississippi State don't like it.
Mississippi State don't like it, and I don't blame them. But I just think that's super cool. Now, that being said, Ole Miss just shouldn't have been in the field. And I'm just telling – I'm not saying this because I would have put Alabama in their stead.
They played like crap all year. I mean, they were below 500.
They underperformed 75% of the year.
You know, Auburn got penalized in football when they underperformed the year they were preseason number one. Okay, in 2003, they started slow. They lost the first 2 games. They ended up having a decent year. But in 2004, they weren't given the benefit of the doubt because they started the season so bad. That hung over them to the next year. So at the end of the year when they were undefeated and we didn't have the system we're in now, they were trying to figure out there were 3 really super teams at the top, Oklahoma, Southern Cal, and Auburn. Well, only 2 could get in. And, you know, even though Auburn won the SEC championship and went undefeated, they were on the outside looking in, and we'll never know what could have been in that season for Auburn if they were able to play Southern Cal. Of course, Oklahoma went on and played them and got their doors blown off. But, again, there's sometimes you get punished for that.
Yeah, and again, I think you could have made the case NC State get in over Ole Miss, whatever. And there's some people who love this. Like, they love the you never know what's going to happen thing. But to me, I think you can still have a never know what's going to happen factor if you only allow teams that deserve to be in.
And I think, you know, once again, here's the X factor in all this. The X factor of all this is money.
Yeah. And
if you cut the field from 64 to 32, well, then you've lost all this revenue. And NCAA is not going to do that. If anything, when the dollar drives the train, which it does in most any instance, they're trying to get more people in the door instead of kicking more people out.
Let's make the field 120.
Well, why don't you just tell everybody to get in? If that's the case, if you're going to really say play the regular season, and a team that went 14-16 in their conference and got beat in the first round of the SEC tournament, if you're going to allow them to go and play for a national championship, then just let everybody in. I mean, seriously, I'm not being facetious.
No, I'm right there with you. And here's the other thing that should be bothersome. You send UConn, and I understand the bracket's already done, but you send UConn, you know, a team, if you really want to pull for an underdog, UConn would have been a perfect one to pull for. And they have to go all the way to Palo Alto, California. That's a long way.
And then they won the first game.
And they almost won it to their credit. And Auburn had to go from Auburn, Alabama to Corvallis, Oregon.
Which
That's
was
a long way.
Those are the 2 furthest trips, by the way.
So, but you let Ole Miss go, you know, they don't even have to spend the night in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
That's right.
There's something's wrong with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's a flaw. I think that you brought up a point about how they seed super regionals. I think after the regionals, there ought to be thrown back in a pot and reseeded again.
I've said that. Look, Brett, I've said that for college basketball too, and everybody's like, "Well, that's the magic." And who doesn't love seeing an 8 versus a 13? I don't.
Yeah.
I want the team that deserves the easiest path.
Basically what we're saying is that teams that have earned their right,
correct, don't get
the benefit of the doubt. They just kind of get shuffled in to the mix of all the other teams that may have been subpar. And if they happen to have – now, look, if you happen to play like crap against a team that's inferior to you, that's on you.
Yeah.
Okay? But, again, I think what we've done is we haven't really rewarded the teams that have won 50 games in a season.
It's not really – I'll tell you what, who should be really mad is Southern Miss. You know, Oregon State probably had no trouble with this. Like, yeah, even though they lost, they're probably like, yeah, bring Auburn on, let them fly, you know, have 2 layovers to get over here. Sure, right. We're fine with that. But, you know.
Crap, Ole Miss had more people in the stands than they did.
My point exactly is that if I'm Southern Miss, I'm like, hey, we had a hell of a season. We have a super regional. We're hosting it. And you send a team that's right up the road that's going to bring more people than us? Why don't you send us UConn? Let's see how many people they bring then.
I had a good argument. So, up against first break of the program. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. You can give us a call, 256-234-6221. Again, want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for being longtime corporate partners of our program. JR serving our community in all the communities around here, supporting all the local schools. Sunshine Heating and Air right there in Dadeville, Alabama. Kevin Kill. You see the logo on the screen if you're watching on Facebook Live or on TV. You can give him a call. And right now, buddy, if your air goes out,
if your hair goes out, don't call
well,
it.
if your hair goes out, don't call. But if your hair falls out, yeah, don't call him. So, but
Ain't much they can do for you.
but
They can make your bald head cool again.
yeah, I guess you just let it fall out and then stick your head in a tub of ice. Where's the ice bucket challenge when you need it? Andy said Roddick had the misfortune of being born at the same time as Roger Federer. You know what? You just draw a short straw sometimes, kind of like Karl Malone. Karl Malone in the Jazz just happened to be outstanding at the wrong time. There was a team called the Chicago Bulls. They couldn't be good during the 2 off years. Houston said, hey, we'll take him 2 years. Yeah. When Michael Jordan and Chicago don't make it, we'll win a couple championships. That's really the only reason Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets won. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. If the Bulls would have played through those 2 years, I think they would have 8 rings.
I think they would have won too, but it would have been more interesting. I would have loved, and the storyline of, Hakeem going number 1 in that draft, Jordan going number 3 in that draft, and Sam Bowie sort of stuck in between them. Charles Barkley went number 5 in that draft.
Right.
Pretty wild. I don't remember who went number 4. Oh, I do know. The other guy from Sam.
Another Sam Bowie.
Sam, from North Carolina.
Oh, you talking about Sam Perkins?
Yeah, Sam Perkins.
All right, so let's talk about the NBA draft. Everybody kind of was shuffling 3 guys around all year. Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paolo Banchero. Banchero goes to the Magic is the first pick. Kind of shocked everybody. Thought, well, okay, here comes Jabari Smith, number 2, and then it's Chet Holmgren. And I'll be honest with you, the Rockets tweeted out, "Thank you, Magic and Thunder, for screwing that up. We appreciate it." And again, if I'm Jabari Smith, if I don't go 1, I'm kind of glad I don't go 2. I'm glad I went 3 because you got a chance in Houston. Houston's a good franchise. Oklahoma City is just where you're just left for dead. And I don't think Chet Holmgren is. I mean, maybe look, I like Banchero. I think he's a great player at Duke, and I definitely could see why the Magic, would want to take him. But Jabari Smith, to me, is the better of the 3, not because he's from Auburn. I just think he offers more, and I think he's got the best odds in Vegas of winning Rookie of the Year. I think he'll have a better shot at being in Houston to do that. He's got Jalen Green. They also picked up Ty Washington. They also picked up Tari Eason. Man, it's a hell of a class,
They got a good draft and good SEC flavor draft. In the end, I think the consensus was Banchero was probably the most polished of the 3. I think
he's older.
The talk towards the end, and again, this may be. That's why it kind of sucks that the draft is such a long way away from the end of the college season because it gives guys time to fall in love with somebody and then fall out of love with them. And I think that's what the Magic did. They must have fallen out of love with Jabari Smith because the knock began to come that, hey, he's really just more of he's a big jump shooter. He doesn't have much of an inside game. And I would say that's fair. That's a fair criticism. But I think I would rather have a big guy that is like that in today's game that I can mold into somebody to have some around the hoop.
Right. I just think his upside. I think his upside's so much bigger. Hey, and look, you just mentioned that draft, that famous draft with Michael Jordan and Sam Perkins and Sam Bowie and Hakeem Olajuwon. The best player in our lifetime went number 3. Okay, so if I'm Jabari Smith, I'm going, hey, look. Michael Jordan went number 3. I'm okay. And, he got – you play for that next contract. You get a great contract. Look, you're a lottery pick. You're getting paid. He's set. But if he does come out and do what everybody thinks he can do, the next time he signs on the dotted line is going to be massive.
He's going to make some money.
Right. We'll slide on down. Shandon Sharp from Kentucky went to the Trailblazers, number 7. Again, you look through here as far as SEC players, you got to go all the way down.
What about Shaden Sharp? Here's the thing about that. He didn't play for Kentucky this year. Because he entered school early and was going to –
But he's that's the school he was listed.
Yeah, and it never really worked out for whatever reason for him to get on the court. So, effectively, he didn't even he didn't do anything.
Right.
And I guess it works out for him because you could say, well, if he had played, maybe he'd have been number 1 pick. There's some people that think he's got the most talent. But I think it worked out pretty well for him. Like if you said you have a shot to go number 1 if you just kick butt, but you're going to go no worse. If you don't do it all, you're going to go number 7. That's your floor. I'm going to take the number 7. Because what could happen is you blow out your knee or you're not that good. Let's say you go out there and you don't do very much. All of a sudden you go from a guy that was projected to be high to a, maybe a second rounder. That's a huge difference. So it's kind of scary for a college basketball fan that a guy who didn't play at all, not even D-League, G-League, nothing.
And he went 7.
He goes number 7. By the way, he goes 7 to the Trailblazers. Who picked up Sam Bowie? The Trailblazers.
The Trailblazers did. Yeah, congratulations. Eason's the next SEC player off the board at number 17. As we just talked about, he went to the Rockets along with Jabari Smith. Slide on down. Walker Kessler gets picked up by the Grizzlies but traded to the Timberwolves at the 22 spot. So Walker Kessler slides in there. The next SEC player was Ty Washington, again to the Rockets from the Grizzlies via the Wolves. So it's just in the NBA draft, it's just kind of crazy. So really, the Rockets pick up 3 guys there in the top 29 picks of the draft. They had a heck of a draft. And then, again, just
where did Kennedy Chandler go? I forgot.
Kennedy
and
Chandler.
I don't think he went to the second round.
Yeah, I think he did go in the second round, and he went 38th to the Grizzlies.
See, and I think that's a good pick for them. And it's also, he went to Tennessee, so now he's in Memphis, even though they're on opposite ends. But,
What was the odd thing? I hate to cut you off about that, but I want to slide over and talk about J.D. Davison going to the Celtics. What was the talk about Nate Oates saying, I'm glad he got drafted so he ain't coming back?
No, he didn't really – that's not what he said. But I think that there
didn't sound like there was any love lost there.
I don't think there was. I think it turned out to be something where, it
kind of sounded to me like, I'm glad the kid got drafted so I don't have to deal with him anymore.
Well, he was going to stay in the draft regardless. But
right.
I think that it wasn't necessarily a marriage made in heaven towards the end. JD, look, he kind of was a turnover machine at times.
Yeah.
And it was almost because – everybody loves to show that highlight where he dunks over Walker Kessler, which was great, but he wasn't that assertive a lot of time. Be that assertive all the time, and all of a sudden you're all SEC.
He almost didn't get drafted.
Yeah, but I think he went to a good place for his athleticism. I'm a little surprised Keon Ellis didn't get drafted. But I wish Keon Ellis had come back, but I think that was another guy who'd sort of made up his mind. That's the other thing. Once these guys kind of make up their mind, hey, it's time for me to be drafted, they're not going to be bought in. And for Nate Oates' system especially, you got to be bought in. And so I think that towards the end of the year, you saw maybe some guys had their eyes on the draft instead of their eyes on making the team better. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I wish J.D. Davison the best. I wish Keon Ellis the best. I want them to kick butt and represent Alabama well. But I think that sometimes it's also best that everybody just go on about their separate ways, and so it's fine. There's no harm lost.
He was the last SEC player taken in the first 2 rounds. Again, you just mentioned the kid from Tennessee that went in 38, Kennedy Chandler. That's really it for SEC players.
Well, and that's bothersome because.
Well, I didn't mention Jalen Williams. Williams went 34.
But, it's just bothersome in the sense that I thought the SEC was real strong, and this isn't a pure indicator of how strong the league is. But it is worrisome because you're thinking, oh, well, maybe – and then you look at our performance in the NCAA tournament, where Auburn goes out early, Kentucky goes out first round, Alabama goes out early, LSU goes out early. Everybody goes – it was a poor showing, and then we have a poor draft. It wasn't a great reflection on the league itself. So I'm hoping next year – certainly would be a lot better.
Yeah, overall, not a lot of players, but from a standpoint of, having a top 3 in the SEC, that's pretty big. Having really 2 in the top 10 from the SEC that's pretty solid. And again, I just think maybe just not the volume of numbers, but you got all kind of things that take away from that. Now you've got the G League getting people drafted. You got foreigners that come over from France and Serbia and wherever else they may be playing basketball. Those get added in. And then, of course, you got some other good basketball in the country like the ACC. You're going to get a boatload of Duke players, and there were several Duke players drafted. That's just the way it is. So maybe not from a volume of players overall, but did have some high draft picks, which was pretty good. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Growing your business isn't just one thing. It's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA Weekly Show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
When the Lake Martin area wants country, it turns to Kalijah Country 97.5. Lake Martin's best country.
Goes like 1 margarita, 2 margarita, 3 margarita shot. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. Now it's grandpa's never died.
Lake Martin's best country is on Kalijah Country 97.5.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. I want to thank both of them for all that they do for our program. I want to thank all of our sponsors that you see scroll across the bottom of the screen and all the commercials that we have. Couldn't do the show without them. I think we're about to go into year 17, Luke. What in the heck? I mean,
a lot of years, man.
Jesus. I mean, that is a lot of years. Go back to Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Ole Miss sweeps Oklahoma in the 2 out of 3 series to win it, win the College World Series. That's their first baseball title. Oklahoma was trying to be the first school to win the softball and the baseball championship in the same year. Ole Miss kind of handled them pretty easily in game 1, 10-3. In game 2, Oklahoma looked like they had taken some momentum. And there was a big call in that game. I don't know if you watched the game or not, Luke, but there was a call in the game where Oklahoma finally scored, got on the board, and then they threw a ball down to first. The pitcher picks the ball up on a bunt, throws it to first, and they call runner interference. So that run that scored has to go back. That guy's out. The next guy goes back to second. The next guy up at the plate pops one out in the right field, and they don't get any runs. So you felt the seizure of the momentum. So it went from 1-0 Oklahoma back to 0-0. Well, what happens? 99 times out of 100, Ole Miss comes up, they hit one out of the park and go up 1-0. It's like, well, there it is. But Oklahoma comes back the next inning, fights back, takes the lead. And you felt like, things had kind of gone back in Oklahoma's favor. Their starter was still out on the mound, and he was dealing. But, again, Ole Miss being the scrappy team they are, found a way to get base runners. Had 2 pass balls is really how they won the game. It took the lead. They added another run to make it 4-2. But they scored on 2 pass balls. It's kind of odd. So, anyway, Oklahoma falls in straight games. Ole Miss brings another SEC championship, or another national championship back to the conference. Here's the thing. In a few years, Oklahoma is going to be in the SEC. Texas is going to be in the SEC. 6 of the 8 teams that were in Omaha this year, basically in the SEC, are going to be in the SEC in the next couple of years. That only left Stanford and Notre Dame is the only 2 outliers there. So, and Notre Dame knocked out Tennessee to get there. So that could have been Tennessee there sitting there. The only team that really would have been there with no chance of another SEC team being there. Stanford, man, it could have been 7 of the 8 and really should have been, because Tennessee was the best team all year. They just finally had karma come up and bite them in the rear end.
Yeah, and this is the reason that I think the Big 12 has to figure out a way to negotiate with the SEC and work out some kind of buyout to let Oklahoma and Texas go, because what did everybody talk about? Then nobody said
nobody said a word about Big 12.
They said the SEC essentially has 6 teams out of the 8. The SEC essentially has 6 teams out of the 8.
That's right.
Nobody ever mentioned.
Has that really sunk into you yet, that really Texas, Oklahoma about to be part of this?
Well, no, I'm ready for it to go ahead and happen. I mean, this whole, this is like getting engaged.
Are
and
you
saying we're
glad
gonna
they
get married
are?
in 4 years.
You glad they're coming?
I am. I mean, because I see I mean, if I had my way, we'd probably go back to 10 teams. I sort of like some of the old stuff, and I think we're all going to yearn for that eventually. But I think that having these 2 now makes the SEC even more potent, and it's incredible to be a part of this league that has so much going for it. And we've got great leadership. I think that having Oklahoma and Texas is going to be great. But another reason, going back to the Big 12, has to get them out. What if Oklahoma, first of all, they already won the softball title, right?
Right.
So they're the best team in the Big 12 there.
They just won the gymnastics national
They won the gymnastics, so they're the best team there. Oklahoma and Texas will be the favorites, probably, maybe with Baylor mixed in, to win the Big 12 this year in football. And so what if Oklahoma and Texas, let's say, play for the Big 12 championship? It's happened before, so why wouldn't it happen this time? So the 2 teams that are divorcing you are going to play for your title. What does that say about you and your other teams that you're bringing in? What I'm saying is, it behooves the Big 12 to get these 2 out of there. And I know they're the 2 biggest names by a long shot.
Yeah, but
the longer they
why
stay,
you think it is?
and if they keep winning, then it's going to make you look that much worse when they're gone. Get them out now.
Right. I think you're right. I think the dumbest thing in the world is dragging something out to 2025, especially for the Big 12. They already named the teams that are coming in their place. Just go ahead and figure out how to get them in there and get Texas and Oklahoma out.
And don't give Texas and Oklahoma a shot, because, see, they're coming in next year. So don't give Texas and Oklahoma a shot to beat up on them. If Oklahoma goes to BYU and beats the brakes off of them,
it just makes them look dumber.
Makes them look
hey,
dumber.
look, we're leaving. We just beat up on one of your new members.
All of them.
Right, I know.
Why do you even want them to be around to make you look like a fool?
Right.
There's no positive. Even if you sweep Oklahoma and Texas, everybody's still like, doesn't matter, because Oklahoma and Texas are all you are. So you get no benefit from Texas and Oklahoma hanging around.
Arch Manning, and we'll talk about this on the other side too. Speaking of Texas and Oklahoma, chooses a future SEC school, which is really quasi now a current SEC school, because everybody's talking about them like that. Kind of just quietly on a Thursday ended his recruiting and said, look, I'm going to go to Texas, and didn't make a big to-do about it. And we've seen other guys do that are highly touted, like super recruits, once-in-a-generation guys that just go, hey, I'm going here and I'm done.
Marlon Humphrey announced when we had our ice out a couple of years,
he did
several years ago.
Right.
I mean, I was just sitting there being able to check Twitter because there was nothing else going on.
Right.
And he just tweeted during the ice storm. I mean, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, Arch Manning going to Texas is big for them. They also have since then gotten a commitment from a 4/5-star Derek Williams safety out of Louisiana. And Texas is doing really well on the recruiting trail, and kudos, they need to, because
they've been down. They've been down a while.
Look, it's funny. On our Locked On Bama YouTube page, some Texas guys have come on and said, we stole Arch Manning and whatever. And I was like, look, Texas, don't talk junk until you beat Kansas. When you beat Kansas again, I might let you say something. But right now, y'all aren't even worth discussing.
Right.
Now, Arch Manning, kudos. I mean, I'm happy. I'm a guy who likes to see Texas doing well.
And I think maybe Arch Manning says, look, I can blaze my own trail. Texas has got every asset and everything you need to be a premier program, has been in the past. I can help them get back to where they need to be.
I think that's true, and I think that would make him sort of a god in Austin, Texas. But
it wasn't Sam Ehlinger,
look,
even though Sam Ehlinger said, I'm back, we're back, Texas is back after they beat Georgia. They're really not.
But I think that it's, again, that's a good spot. He came down to Alabama and Texas and Georgia, and Alabama already has Eli Holstein. Georgia's got a couple of 5-stars on the roster. I think this is probably the best spot for him. Takes a little bit of pressure. If he goes to Georgia, Alabama, he's going to have a lot of pressure. Win the job and win the championship for 3 years. That's the pressure. If he goes to Texas, he's looked upon. Yeah, he's got pressure, but he's looked upon as a guy who's like, okay, you don't have the pieces to win it all right now. But by the time you graduate, we should have them because you're going to Pied Piper these folks in here, and then maybe we can do it.
What if he? And let's play the what if game for a little bit. What if he comes out there and kind of is a disappointment? Well, everybody's not going to be Pied Pipering into Texas if he comes out and doesn't look the part. And
what if Texas is bad this year without his being there, and Steve Sarkisian loses to Kansas again and is on the hot seat?
And what if he changes? What if he changes his mind?
I would suppose he could. I would almost bet that he wouldn't, no matter the circumstance. I'll say this though: if Steve Sarkisian were still at Alabama, Arch Manning would have been committed to Alabama for a year now. He loves Steve Sarkisian. That family does. And he thinks Sarkisian is the way, to really guide him to that next level. But if Sarkisian is fired, which I think now getting Arch's commitment is probably the best.
I just saved it.
For regardless. But Texas, again, they went, 5-7 last year, I think?
Very good.
So, and they did lose to Kansas. They lost and this year
Oklahoma almost lost to Kansas.
Well, this year
if Caleb Williams don't make like 2 unbelievable plays, Kansas beats them as well.
Right. So Texas has to go on the road to Kansas this year. Could even be worse. But point being that Texas, I think their schedule is going to be just as hard. They bring Alabama on as a non-conference foe this year. It's going to be tough for them. So, I don't know that Texas is going to do much better than 7-5, 6-6, 5-7.
Hey, I was going to also bring up, and then before we get to the next break, neutral site games look like they're a dying breed. I saw where the Cowboys canceled the opening game out in Jerry's World because they couldn't find 2 opponents.
Oh, wow.
And so, in last year's was Stanford and somebody else.
Well, they did have
Kansas State and Stanford.
Yeah.
And they only drew like 28,000 people. And, more teams are going to the home and home thing now.
Yeah,
it was a fad there for a while.
It's a cyclical thing. And I think that more teams are going to keep going that route. And look, I enjoy it but I also enjoy working those neutral site games in. Next year you got starting this year you've got FSU and LSU. They're going to play in New Orleans.
That should be a fun one.
And then next year they play in Orlando, and instead of Tallahassee and Baton Rouge. I'm down with that. That's fine.
But they are starting to kind of
Georgia and Oregon
because the teams aren't agreeing. I mean, it's not that if you get the matchups, people will come. But I mean, just to say we're going to have a neutral site game and all you can find Stanford and Kansas State to play each other. I mean, nobody's doing that. 28,000 people show up in the stands. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
You already know the power and reliability of a Mahindra tractor. Get ready to meet their ATV and UTV lines. Haul more and tow more. Do more. Reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour. Models have a 12-inch ground clearance and the ability to haul up to 1,200 pounds. There's a Mahindra utility vehicle and a model specifically to get the job done. Test drive today at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor. Serving Tallapoosa, Coosa, Clay, and Talladega counties. 256-392-3613.
Hi, I'm Scott Blake.
I'm Angie Richardson, and we are the loan team here at Movement Mortgage.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've gone through the process before,
Our mission is to help you move forward with the purchase of your future plans. Call me at 256-397-2771.
or call me at 256-794-1003.
Scott Blake, NMLS number 527945. Angie Richardson, NMLS number 216556. Movement Mortgage supports equal housing opportunity, NMLS number 39179. For licensing information, please visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hey guys, this is Nate Paz with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comments section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
Castelluccio Fine Italian Dining in downtown Alexander City is rapidly becoming the region's standard for Italian cuisine, as well as hand-cut filet mignon, fresh Gulf seafood, and the area's best Italian import wine selection. We offer true old-world charm with unmatched hospitality. Like Castelluccio Fine Dining on Facebook to keep up with daily lunch and dinner specials. Also new, we offer catering for your family and small business, so call and order. Castelluccio, downtown Alexander City, where the only thing that rivals the flavor is the dining experience.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense.
Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine, heat, and air, last segment here in hour number one, just kind of recapping what we talked about there as Ole Miss does capture a national championship. Arch Manning making his decision to go to Texas. The little NBA draft information with a number 3 pick. Auburn felt like maybe Jabari Smith would go number 1, doesn't, goes to number 3 with the Rockets, so still a very good selection for him. Very good player, I think, with a tremendous upside. I didn't ask your opinion. We talked about Benchero and we talked about Smith. What about Chet Holmgren? Look, man, the guy, he don't look healthy to me. I mean, he's so daggum thin.
Well, everybody, you know, the Sean Bradley comparisons have been out ad nauseum.
He looks like Sean Bradley.
A little. I think that
the dude is a daggum stick.
He's
man.
A twig. There's no
he
doubt
is
about
a daggum twig.
Now, I'm more of the I think he'll be okay camp, but because he's got better handles, he's got a better shot than Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley, there was something off with him. Chet Holmgren has been a dude that
he ain't as tall as Sean Bradley.
No, but there's been video. He's also got a lot better handles.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you see some guys that are the size of Sean Bradley, they're just straight clumsy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's not uncommon. So.
There's good video of him when he was in high school playing against Steph Curry, and he crossed him up, and Curry sort of looks like, I didn't think you could do that. And so – look,
we'll
I
see
think
if he does that on.
I think, I agree, but I think he's going to be okay. I would have even understood selecting him number 1 because he is sort of a unicorn, and it's like, but the thing about a unicorn is they're not really real either. So, you know, I would have taken a flyer. I get it because I don't.
He's real, all right. He just looks like Gumby off Gumby and
all
Pokey.
Right, here's the thing. I don't think that anybody else in this draft is like superstar-ish. Kobe Bryant-esque. We talked about that draft with Akeem Olajuwon, Jordan, Sam Perkins even was really good. Charles Barkley. I don't think anybody in this draft is that good. Is as good as any of those guys. Maybe as good as Sam Perkins. But so that in that regard, I get taking a shot on the guy who may very well have the best ceiling, although you got to talk yourself into it. I would have taken Jabari Smith number 1. I said that on air. I still believe it. I get taking Pablo Banchero number 1, but I feel like his floor is higher, but his ceiling is lower. Right. And to me, the NBA is all about, what can you do, not what have you done.
Sure.
So I feel like that's what I would have done. I would have gone Jabari Smith, probably gone Chet Holmgren 2, and then gone Banchero 3rd. That's what I would have done.
And everything that
I might have gone Jaden Ivey number 4.
Most people were
3.
watching that and had that in that order. I think everybody had consensus gone with Smith and then basically Holmgren and then Banchero. And then it flipped. So, but anyway, it is what it is, and that's just where it is. Hey, always some NBA G League guys. The first one went number 8 to the Pelicans. That was Dyson Daniels. He went out of the NBA G League. Also in the second round, Jaden Hardy went to the Grizzlies. Actually went to the Kings, rather, from the Ignite. Also, is it Marjan Beauchamp?
Yeah.
Went to the Bucks as the 24th overall pick.
And I remember him well because Alabama was recruiting him really hard, and then he decided he wanted to go to the G League. I mean, some people are just going to do that. Scoot Henderson, he'll be a high draft pick in next year apparently from the G League.
Yeah, I think so. One guy that we didn't mention when we were talking about the top players from the SEC was Ty Washington, who also was picked up by the Rockets. So, I mean, good God, man. I mean, Eason, Washington, Smith.
That's an SEC flavor.
I mean, that is a solid, deal for the Rockets there, all in the first round. All 3 really, really good players. So, just pretty much a cleanup there for the Houston Rockets. So, going to take our top of the hour break when we come back. UAB didn't get some good news this week. We'll talk about that on the flip side. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Fast, fresh, and friendly. That's the Allen Brew Market mission to our customers on the go. Allen Brew Markets of Talladega County fuel your vehicle and you with the best coffee, drinks, snacks, and food, so you can get your day on the fast track. Allen Brew Markets are always convenient with Sylacauga locations on Main Avenue, Highway 280, and Old Birmingham Highway. Allen Brew Markets has everything for the family on the go, and we're always brewing up great specials. Fast, fresh, and friendly. Our guarantee to you.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sale. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Hi, this is Brian Weiss with Weiss Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Weiss Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Weiss Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Weiss Motors.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your expressway to saving.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We'll go straight to the phone lines. Welcome in our good friend Terry here as a phone call here in the second hour. Terry, what's up, man?
Guys, how y'all doing tonight?
Man, we're good.
Terry, what's up?
How you doing? Got a question for you guys along the lines of recruiting. I don't know if you guys have talked about tonight or not, but the staff at Auburn is kind of content with where we're getting guys on campus. And I agree, that's the first step. But that staff's got to start landing something. And, Brett, I don't know if you're on the table like I am. They've got to prove something on the field first. They're not going to do it by wooing and cooing them on stage because Auburn's an impressive campus.
Right.
So, and when you got to get the guy from you follow, the offensive line, in case everybody didn't know, Auburn's offensive line is in dire need. When you lose a guy from you follow, which is 45 minutes, an hour away from Auburn to Georgia Tech, that really bothers me. The kid out of Alabaster just committed to Alabama. Everybody kind of saw that coming. And so they're going to get more. But they've got to get some offensive linemen. Yeah, everybody wants the quarterback, the running back, the receiver, the flashy guys, the guys that are going to be on ESPN's top 10 someday. But the guys, the one thing about football hasn't changed. The guys and the big uglies are still getting it done.
Well,
that's who gets it done. And I've heard guys from other conferences say that's what separates the Southeastern Conference from every other conference was the linemen.
Well, at the end of the day, your line of scrimmage on both the offensive and defensive side determine how successful you are. If you look at all the national championship teams over the last 15, 20 years, I'm just going to use that as an example. And I'll stay with Alabama and I'll stay with Georgia. I'll, look at Auburn in 2010. I mean, you got dominant offensive linemen up front that allows you to do what you can do offensively. On the defensive side, you disrupt the other team by having guys in the backfield where you have to double team guys up front. It frees up your linebackers to make plays. Look, it's all about the line of scrimmage. That's where it starts and ends. And if you don't have good line of scrimmage play, you're not going to go very far. You're going to win some games probably that, here and there that you weren't supposed to, but consistently you're not going to beat other teams that have a better line of scrimmage than you.
Well, the offensive line at Auburn is experienced this year, so I'm hoping. But guys, those are four or five seniors. Am I correct?
Correct.
They should be able to sell play in time. And one thing about Alabama and Georgia's success has been when they have great offensive lines, they keep them around for 2 or 3 years. You can't put an offensive line, a patchwork offensive line, plug in the guy here, plug in the guy there, and just it work. It have to function as a unit. And I hope.
Well, that's been Auburn's problem.
The idiot that he is realizes that.
Well, that's been Auburn's problem is they've had to move so many people around to different positions. You can't get any consistency at one. You've had guys that have played guard and then moved out to tackle and just kind of shifted from one side of the line to the other. It makes it tough, man.
Once you look at that 2010 offensive line, Brett, the national championship offensive, there were guys that were starters for 3 years. Ryan Pugh and Ziemba and those guys.
And they were good ones too. Now.
Yeah, they were. They were very good, but they were together and they could function as a unit.
Right. Correct.
So that's the part that bothers me. They just want to put a guy I heard them say we got to address the transfer portal. Well, okay, that's fine, but at the same time, you're going back to what I just said. You're doing a patchwork thing. And look, you can attest to that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They guys get great offensive linemen, Alabama and Georgia. That's why those schools are successful. That's why running backs want to go there and run behind those offensive lines. That's why quarterbacks want to go back there and stand and throw.
Yeah, and I do agree with you to an extent. I will say this, Alabama's got 6 guys coming in from the transfer portal, 5 or 6. Jahmyr Gibbs will be, I think he'll be a Heisman candidate. They're 2 starting wide receivers, probably 2 transfers, even though they've recruited very well at that position. I think it's not a hard and fast rule. I think it depends on the situation. And you just look at Auburn right now, once things get off the tracks, and Auburn, I would consider Auburn off the tracks in the football department, it's really difficult. You've got to have a very concerted effort to get everybody back on the same page and get back on the tracks. It's very difficult to do. I'm not sure Harson's the guy to do that. I'm with you there. One thing that after you called Auburn Blitz today, I made mention in a comment and something about why aren't people committing when they're visiting and having a good time, yada, yada, yada. First of all, I think people read too much into these visits. Everybody has a good time on a visit. Very rarely does a kid ever come back and go, I didn't have that much fun. I mean, because they get treated like royalty.
Yeah, you never hear.
But secondly, how is a guy who went 6 and 7 last year, who is not from this area, nobody really knew him, and the fact that his own school, essentially, or at least some of his alums, tried to oust him after this year, how is he supposed to recruit really well? It's going to be very difficult to begin with when he's surrounded by, the likes of Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and, LSU doing well and Jimbo Fisher and yada, yada, yada. It's very difficult to start out with, and now he's really behind the 8 ball. So, and you mentioned the kid from Eufaula. His name is Patrick Screws. He is an offensive lineman. He's ranked the number 33 player in the state of Alabama. But I'm with you. I say all that even as a stargazer. He's a 3-star guy. But I'm with you. If I were Auburn, I would have been all over him. I think he's a really good player. And here's the other thing about him. He's gone up against Janze Pierre, who is headed to Alabama. So he knows something about playing good talent. I just feel like, I think you're right, that's the kind of guy that if I'm Auburn, that's who I'm really pursuing. But again, this coaching staff, you hope they have a plan and they're following it.
Well, he said he was 33rd in the state league. In the ordinary year, he'd be 12th or 13th.
Agreed. This year is ridiculously loaded. I've said that a gazillion times. It's got 5 or 6 five-stars.
That says something about some of those guys that are on down the list. On a normal year, they'd probably be in the teens.
I don't think there's any doubt. Now, look, here I will give you some good news. I really believe this. I believe Auburn will get a commitment from Jeremiah Cobb sooner rather than later, who may be the best, may be the top running back in the state. It's not, it's not a.
He's from Catholic.
It's not the best year for running backs in the state, but he's still a good player.
He's a good player.
And then Carmelo English. I think Auburn will get him. I would be wary of a potential flip later on if some other teams pursue, but I think Auburn will get him sooner rather than later as a commitment. And again, but that goes back to your point. Those are more skill position guys versus offensive line.
But I think right now you got to get get some momentum.
Yeah, they've got to get offensive line. I kind of think of the kid Luke and Brett about the running back and the receiver, kind of compared to my grandfather had a restaurant in Birmingham for years, and I was he thought it was gone before I was too old. But he had a cook. He said could cook 22 hamburgers at one time, but he said who ordered them?
Yeah.
So in their case, they're going to catch the ball and run the ball, but who's going to block for them?
I like that. That's a good analogy.
Pretty good analogy there.
So that's the thing. Who's going to block for them? Because a running back can do you no good. Just ask Tank Bigsby right now.
Yeah, and look, it's no secret. Auburn is – I'm looking at 24/7 right now. Auburn is 81st in the country in recruiting. They only have 2 commitments, and it's only June, so I don't think anybody should be jumping off bridges. But it is last in the SEC, and it's 81st in the country. It's
uncharted. It's uncharted territory for Auburn.
Right, and you got a coach that's not familiar with the area, and I don't think I really.
But Terry, they got a boatload of coaches that are familiar with the area. They got a boatload of coaches that are familiar with the area. Look, the head coach is the head guy, no doubt. But Auburn's got a bunch of assistants that have been in this program, that know the landscapes, got relationships. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, seriously, 81st in recruiting. I mean, we can sit here and point fingers at Brian Harsin all day. He's not the end-all, be-all. You got guys out there selling the program, building relationships, and a lot of times these recruits commit to the assistant guy, not the head coach. I mean, the head coach carries a lot of weight, no doubt, but it's the guys in the trenches that really sell it and get these guys to commit. So I don't know. I mean, it's really.
Guy tried to tell me today, said Nebraska was a dominant program, yet can you name the guys they put in the NFL in the offensive line? I said not too terribly many, but that was a different time and place than 25 years ago.
No, it's totally different. That's not really a fair comparison. But Army was a power
in the 1900s.
in the early 1940s, I guess. But I'm looking at the top 10 in the state, and this is almost unfair, and this is why I love high school football in Alabama. I mean, this year is just crazy good. James Smith, who's one of the top 15 players in the country. Then Tony Mitchell, who you mentioned, they just committed to Alabama. Jaleel Hurley also committed to Alabama. Peter Woods, who I believe will commit to Alabama on July 8th. He may commit to Clemson, but I think it'll be Alabama. A.J. Harris committed to Georgia, and Quay Russell.
Also from Carver.
I think he'll end up going to Alabama as well. Then Christopher Vizina, who is a 5-star on 24/7, has 7 5-stars. Vizina, of course, going to Clemson. Kelby Collins, again, I would lean Alabama there. Tamorian Parker headed to Penn State. That's a guy.
There's a mind-boggling situation there.
That's the one, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm going, okay, hold up. I get some of these other guys going to Alabama. I get Vizina going to Clemson. There's a big Dabo Sweeney, Christian tie-in, all this other stuff. I get all that. But the Tamarian Parker one would bug me if I were an Auburn guy. And if Keldrick Falk doesn't commit to Auburn, I would also be very bothered.
Was it a shock that Alabama got a commitment from
Tony Mitchell?
Yeah.
It's funny.
It wasn't trending that way.
I was 100% on. I mean, and this isn't just my guesses. I mean, I'm talking to people that talk to people that know people and with the program, and they're like, "Look, it's A&M."
Alabama ponied up.
And
let's just be honest.
That's probably.
That's exactly what it was.
That's probably. But I mean,
didn't the squabble? Let's just be honest. And I don't know. You may not know anything. Concrete or whatever. isn't this really kind of where the squabble between Jimbo Fisher and Nick
Yes.
Saban came from?
That is my educated guess.
Right,
yes.
that's mine too.
So
I'll put Jimmy's Reigns money against anybody as far as Auburn contributions.
And again, I get it. And so now we're in a time when, a Miami quarterback commitment is reportedly getting $9.5 million. I mean, we're in this time now. So there's no more excuses, no more complaining. If you're not going to pony up, you ain't going to get the guys.
Right.
That's the end.
I think, Coach David and I disagree. I think Brian Harson's unhappy at Auburn. I don't think he really wants to be there. And Coach David and I disagree on that point. But if there was ever a song to sum up Brian Harson's career at Auburn, it has to be that song by Charlie Rich called Behind Closed Doors. Here, guys.
All right, see you.
All right, appreciate it. We got to get the break so we don't get so far behind like we did in the first hour. But keep your thoughts. We'll come back. We'll continue to talk about this. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
From the smallest drippy faucet to drain cleaning to water heater replacement to gas lines to total systems replacement, A&M Plumbing handles it all. Visit amplumbing.net today for the experienced, licensed, and insured pros at A&M Plumbing.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seat belts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
It's time to crank for bank. April 1st through July 4th, you'll be fishing Lake Martin for a chance to win big. With a $100 registration, you'll be fishing for $1 million from Big Fish Real Estate Group and Point Broadband, a 2022 Bass Cat Bass Boat from Russell Marine, 2022 Skeeter Bass Boat from Ashley Outdoors, a 2022 Chevy truck from Lake Martin Cabinetry and Allen Embry Premier Chevrolet, or catch a $1,500 tagged fish. Brought to you in part by Dunning Roofing, Lake Martin Tourism, Mortgage Pro, Fishing Chaos, and Lake Broadcasting. Visit Crank, the number 4 bank.com for details.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine, heat, and air. Look, we were talking about Crank for Bank during the break, which sounds kind of like some kind of NIL deal now. But anyway, you can go out and you buy a ticket, and if you catch a tagged fish, it's worth something. And at the end of the Crank for Bank, they have a boat, a truck, I think there's $1 million prize out there. If you catch, you don't know, it doesn't say on the tag. So when you, at the end of the whole deal, when you turn your tag in, there's a list of these things. And I mean, you could literally have caught a fish that's worth a truck or a boat or $1 million. But anyway, Auburn University, with their fisheries department, they do the same thing, but on their tags, they put a dollar amount. Well, some of the kids at the state tournament this weekend caught a couple tagged fish. So like $200, $400. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. So
Well, let's go back to recruiting.
Catch a tagged recruit now.
Let's go back to the recruiting for a minute because there are Kelby Collins should probably be committing soon. I doubt Russell and James Smith, two of the top players in the top 10.
They're saying they're going to be a combo deal.
I've heard that a million times. I bet they do end up going to the same place, but I never really buy into that much. Tamarian Parker, as I said, going to Penn State.
Does he stay committed to Penn State?
I believe he does. He seems to really like it. Keldrick Falk now will be committing soon. It sounded like Auburn for a while. Now it's beginning to sound like this could be a Clemson thing. Wouldn't shock me at all. We saw him play in the Final Four of basketball. Very good-looking athlete. He's got a brother that's young that's going to be good eventually. Hunter Osborne, another guy that I think is going to commit to Clemson. Clemson's coming in here and getting several.
Well, there's other schools coming in and getting –
well, then Carmelo English, I think he'll commit to Auburn, within the next week. Yanze Pierre to Alabama. Stanton Ramel, this is a lineman at Thompson.
He's committed. He's leaning to Auburn.
I believe he ends up at Auburn, but at the same time,
he's a big guy.
Yeah, at the same time, I believe there's some folks who think that if some other schools push, but I think that he will end up going to Auburn. Avery Stewart is at Alabama Christian. He'll commit to Florida State, I think, sooner rather than later. Sylvester Smith is already committed a safety out of Munford. He's already committed to Tennessee. Jeremiah Cobb at number 18 in the state. As I mentioned, I think he'll commit to Auburn. And Dakari Nelson just committed to Penn State the other day. So, I mean, look, this state, I've already mentioned Clemson with several, Penn State with a few, of course, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Dallas Young, T.J. Metcalf, Vyson, I'm not sure, that Vyson Lang at Pike Road. They either have those guys committed or leaning that way. We mentioned about Patrick Screws already committed to Georgia Tech. I've got a kid committed to Wake Forest already. Some looking at Mississippi State, BYU. I mean, it's a heck of a year in the state. It just is. And if again I go back to look. You look at that top 10, and this is maybe the best top 10 I've ever seen in the state of Alabama at one time. And if you're Auburn, you wish you feel like your best shot going into it is probably with like Tamarian Parker, but he's committed to Penn State. If I were Auburn, my thing would be I'd put the full court rush. I mean, just because he's committed, what they say about when you commit this early, it just makes other schools know the goal they have to reach. When you're uncommitted, you can don't really know what you have to go up against. Well, when you're committed, that lets other schools know you better put the full court press on, like no screwing around anymore. So if Auburn wants him, that's what I would do. But like somebody like an A.J. Harris, he's not really from the state of Alabama. So the fact that he commits to Georgia, isn't that crazy? And also Georgia's a great program, by the way. I mean, got to throw that out there. But I know there'll be some folks that think, well, but he's at Central Phoenix City right up the road from Auburn. But he doesn't have that same tie-in. No. And so, but Tamarian Parker, I think, is from there.
Yeah, right. And you got to start winning your backyard. I mean, seriously. I mean, and I also know there's another side of that. You don't want to go where you've been your whole life and you want to go try something different. I get that part too. I mean, that's why you see kids from Tallahassee, Florida, get the heck out of and don't go to Florida State. And people from Gainesville or their surrounding communities around, or, they don't go to the University of Florida. Yeah. They want to go try something different, something that they haven't been a part of.
And it's so much easier to do it now than it ever has been before.
Oh,
I mean, it's just easier to get places. But
Ed Orgeron at LSU, at Miami now?
I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, he wasn't hired as a coach, though.
I don't know what it is.
I think he was just down there helping them out.
Okay. Does that mean that he is going to end up being some kind of?
God, if I were them, I wouldn't go down that path if I were at Miami right now. I just wouldn't go down that path. I mean, first of all,
does Mario
Cristobal
have a relationship with that Orgeron?
I think that you're just looking at it like from a recruiting standpoint. Miami is they're recruiting big time.
I don't think anybody that follows college football recruiting is shocked that Mario Cristobal is starting to rack up down in Miami. He was racking up at Oregon. He racked up at Alabama. It doesn't matter where a good recruiter goes. They just figure out how to get it done. And I'm not surprised by that.
I tell you, everybody's talking about on September 17th, Auburn and Penn State, and that's going to be a fun game. I think both teams will be undefeated. A lot of fun. That same day, Miami at Texas A&M. That's low key.
Pretty doggone
An awesome game, man. That's.
What time is that one? The Auburn Penn State's at 2:30.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know it's at A&M, so you'd have to think it's probably going to be, and it's it's a CBS or ESPN situation, so you'd have to think it's going to be at night, right?
I would think CBS is at 2:30.
They're going to
so,
CBS. The 2:30 slot's taken. So yeah, I don't think CBS wants to trade or anything. I'm just saying. That's an interesting game.
No, I think
it could be a lot of fun, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Miami went in there and won.
Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Now is the best time to sell your current home, as it's a seller's market, meaning that on average you can get up to 96% of your asking price. Who's the most aggressive and most experienced to help you sell your home?
Hi, I'm Rhonda Gaskins, broker, Century 21 Lake Area Realty in the Lake Martin area. We are getting a 96% return on our listing price, the sales price in this area. Call me today and let me go to work for you. 256-749-3644.
LMG Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Okay, normally we wouldn't say anything about this, but we're going to, considering that coin flips are related to sports, right?
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors should be.
I guess. I mean, wasn't that one of the games that in Lampoon's Vegas Vacation, in the offshoot casino, you could do rock, paper, scissors, I guess, technically. All right, so our state Senate race on the Republican side ended in a dead tie, like 8,373 votes to 8,373 votes. Well, according to the law, it has to be decided by lot, which means a coin flip or some other game of chance. So I have heard that they're either going to decide to flip a coin or do rock, paper, scissors. Now, that's what the rule says. But if you think about it, Luke, I mean, you've run this race, you spent all this money.
Comes down to one
and
coin.
it comes down to a coin flip, dude. Or rock, paper, scissors. Which way you go?
Well, it's not only that. I mean, you think about it from the perspective of the people. I mean,
what if they do rock, paper, scissors and just keep tying?
Is it best out of 3?
I don't know what it is.
Is it one flip of the coin? I'm going tails all day. I mean,
You're going. See, and I talked to somebody today said there's no way they'd pick anything other than heads. I mean, I literally did. I mean, so that just tells you. It's like people walking up in the casino to the roulette wheel. They're going, man, it's just a matter of time before it hits red. Well, not really.
Yeah.
It ain't got to ever hit red.
Technically, it does. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, eventually it probably does. But I've literally watched spin after spin after spin.
I've seen it hit black like 15 times in a row.
I have too.
I've seen it hit green 3 times in a row.
That's real big money.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. I mean, it's just
bananas.
it's kind of odd. I mean, it's like
I
had people say, "No, you're lying." I'm like, "No, I'm not lying."
You got to televise that. First of all,
I think so.
Or you do something like say, what if you did like a decathlon of kind of random events, like flip a coin, rock, paper, scissors, thumb wrestle. You know, that doesn't require a lot of muscles.
One provisional ballot.
Staring contest.
Yeah. What? Don't blink.
I Spy.
I mean, it's my lot. It's some game of chance. It's like they can pick.
Well, that'll be the thing. They'll ruin it. Well, of course, you want to play rock, paper, scissors, you old liberal. Well, of course, you want a coin flip, you conservative jackass. Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Hey, can you imagine at the end? It's like when you lose, if you're playing rock, paper, scissors, the reaction.
And I know, look, occasionally we get political in here, and I'm not going to do it. But if there's anything sadder than the way things have been handled recently, look, I'm not going to get into my stance necessarily because that's probably never a good. But the whole Roe versus Wade being overturned thing. We have a Supreme Court.
People on both sides just losing their mind.
I think it's kind of nutty for people to be celebrating too much. I think it's equally as nutty for people to be like, hey, we got to get rid of the Supreme Court. There are people on national TV saying we got to get rid of the Supreme Court.
I mean, it's the most
if you don't agree with somebody, they immediately say that's no good.
Well,
anymore.
and I'm going to tell you another thing too. Look, whether you believe who created the riot situation on January 6th at the Capitol, whether you think Donald Trump did that by himself or if it was planned or if it was staged or what, there's been people out here, lawmakers on the other side, since this vote, saying you need to go after those Supreme Court. I mean, they're advocating violence and rioting too. The very ones that were trying to get the ones that did all the stuff for January 6th, saying that they need to be arrested and thrown in jail and all that, are out in the street doing the same exact thing. I mean, it's like, do you realize what you're saying? It's the dumbest time, I think, in our lives that we've ever been. It's just the people don't realize what they're doing.
And the other side of it is, I think both sides have some good points.
They do, but the problem is there's so many radicals on both sides, you can't even get to the table to discuss them.
And again, I've been pro-choice my whole life, still am, so I've let that cat out of the bag. But I always remember a joke by
thanks for letting everybody sit on the edge of their seat going, I don't think I'm going to tell everybody. Yeah, I'm going to tell
sure,
everybody.
why not? Doesn't matter. Well, I mean, I am. At the same time, I have no problem saying, I think there has to be a limit. I don't want people aborting babies at 9 months. I don't, or 8 months, or 7 months.
There's not a right answer to this whole thing.
But, you know, I always thought this was a great joke by Dennis Miller on Saturday Night Live when he was hosting Weekend Update. He was talking about, I think it was George Bush, where he was talking about that he was against abortion, but pro-death penalty. He said, I guess it's all about it, all in the timing, huh? Because really, that's kind of the conservative way to look at it. Is like, I'm anti-abortion, I'm pro-death penalty. And the more liberal way seems to be, I'm pro-choice, because it's a woman's body. You don't look at it like a life. Okay, but I'm anti-death penalty. And I'm thinking both, they're
both crisscrossing.
Yeah, they sort of crisscrossing. And it's odd. And both jokes would work. It's all about the timing kind of thing.
Right.
But,
and every situation's not the same.
And I've
that's the thing.
and the reason this ties into sports is because I have seen all over social media, there are some folks, there have been a lot of basketball players, for instance, in the NBA, they have tweeted, hey, I apologize to all women for the Supreme Court today. And I do this. And some people saying we shouldn't have to work today because it's such a somber moment that these rights have been taken away. And I'm thinking, are we going to do this every time? Are we going to, do we always, or for every sporting event now, are we always going to have to, whatever event, whatever thing, whatever crisis is happening, are we going to have to champion that event every time?
Seems
Is
that
that
way.
going to be our thing? Are we never, ever going to have a chance to just have a day?
No.
Are we never going to be able to escape it?
No. And you know, I think, you know, we brought up numerous times during COVID and during other things, during traumatic events in you know, history or in the country or whatever, people gravitate to sports as they're released. They're you know, but now if you say that and you say, well, you know, why can't they say what they mean? Because it's entertainment. It's maybe at that moment we're talking about, how about let's just not talk about it? Can't we just watch the game for 60 minutes? And then at the end of that, if so-and-so player wants to express their political beliefs, so be it. But during that moment, can we not just all get together and watch the game and pull for somebody? I mean,
you know,
that's the problem.
Or can we not just have a moment where things are rather somber, like, for instance, the truck they found in Texas that had 46 dead people in it,
Right.
migrants that came over. And the first thing out of the governor of Texas's mouth is, this is on you, Joe Biden. And I'm thinking, dude, let's not blame anybody right now. Let's just think about how awful this is for humanity. We don't have to blame somebody, right? Just like every time we have a storm that's a little bit costlier or deadlier than the previous one, everybody loves to say, this is on you, Republicans, for not respecting climate change. Let's clean this up first.
All right.
You know, I guess I'm just tired
The world
of,
we live in, man.
I know, it's every moment, everybody has to champion everything. And I think we can all just take a moment.
They just want to be the one to say, I told you so. That's there's so much motivation and drive to be the one to say, hey, look, I told you, I was right. You know, you were wrong. And it kind of dwarfs everything else. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Brubaker Motors in Montgomery is the largest and fastest growing used car dealership in the River region. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker. It's better at Brubaker.com. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker.
BREWBAKER. BREWBAKER.com.
It's better at Brubaker.com.
At CNT Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Become a member of the Superior family. Superior GMC Cadillac, Superior Hyundai, or Superior Automotive Pre-Owned. Between our 3 dealers in East Central Alabama, we offer the superior selection and service for any buyer's needs. All with the personal touch of being locally family-owned and operated. Check out any of our dealers online, or our 3 great lots in Anniston on Quintard, or our pre-owned superstore in Pell City, and join the Superior family of value.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Only about 20 minutes left in tonight's show, man. It flew by. So.
Alabama just got a commitment from a JUCO linebacker named Justin Jefferson. Not that one. Another one that is he's number one JUCO in the country in linebacker. He's runs a 4.3 40. He's really, really fast. Got a lot of Ralph Staten vibes to me. So you know that Alabama has to love him if they're going after a JUCO guy, because they're going to probably get a commitment from Malik Benson, who's also a JUCO guy, and he is the number one JUCO overall in the country, a wide receiver. And again, Alabama has to love him, because if you're taking a wide receiver as a JUCO,
well, I think now you live in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't look in the future anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true too.
You know, because you got to recruit your own team every year. Again, on top of the new guys you come in. So,
well,
look,
on top
if you
of
feel
that,
like that guy's really good.
Well, Jameson Williams wasn't a JUCO, but he was a one-year guy. Jameer Gibbs isn't a JUCO, but I bet he's a one-year guy at Alabama. I mean, you know, just the way it is now.
All right, less than a week after UAB head coach Bill Clark announced he would be stepping down because of health concerns, the Blazers have settled on his replacement for the upcoming season. Bryant Vincent, who has been the offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach, is now the interim head coach. Just a little bit of a surprise there. That kind of came out of nowhere. And look, the reason we'll talk about Bill Clark, because UAB has been phenomenal, man, really, in what they've been able to do. There's been a lot of positive vibes around that program. Most of it has to do with Bill Clark. He's been starting to be mentioned in the searches for big jobs. The new field in Birmingham, Protective Life Stadium, the new home for UAB. It's just been a lot of great things going on around that program from where they were, from coming out basically a self-imposed death penalty, but he steps down because of a chronic back issue. He's got to have surgery.
Got to have fusion.
And that is a blow to UAB, man.
Oh, I think it's a monstrous blow. He is UAB to me. He's as much UAB as Gene Bartow to me.
Yeah.
Frankly, he could have been a lifer. He might have been, his interest in Auburn or Auburn's reciprocating interest in him, notwithstanding, nobody really knows, I guess,
Right.
except Bill Clark and Auburn, if any of that was true. But, boy, think about that. What if he had gone to Auburn?
we'd be sitting
Now he were out. I mean, boy, you want to talk about just another blow. But, anywho, he is where he is. I heard a theory that they've hired this assistant and this interim so quickly because the hope is if there's even a scintilla of a chance that Bill Clark can come back, it would be pretty easy to allow him to come back in that role or be more associated with the program overall somehow.
Right.
If there was a guy like this very familiar with him.
It's got to be pretty bad for him to step down.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I think this is a tremendous blow to UAB at the really wrong time, because I believe eventually some of these pieces of the pie are going to be divvied up, and some programs are just going to go away or be relegated to, second cousin once removed status. And if you're UAB and you're just trying to make a move, you're like, I just don't want to. I don't mind not being in the SEC.
Right.
I don't mind not being in the Big 12, but I don't want to be, sent back to Division I AA or the equivalent.
Right.
Then losing Bill Clark, who was the heart and soul of your program, that's a blow.
Yeah, I think it came out of nowhere. Not sure anybody kind of knew this was coming down the line, but
man, I respect him so much. I mean, regardless about the Auburn stuff, my guess is that was a little bit overblown. But
he's a top
he
coach.
would have had all the opportunity in the world to go anywhere else if he wanted to, and he even stayed when the thing was shut down. And that's
That's
character,
a lot.
man.
That
You
is.
don't see that commitment anymore.
No. Mississippi State agrees with Mike Leach on a 2-year extension, raise his salary to $5.5 million to run him through 2025.
Explain this to me. Mike Leach. Now, Mike Leach did go to Auburn. He beat Auburn after being down 28 or whatever. But he goes 7-6. He gets humiliated in the bowl game. They lose to Ole Miss. They really should be 0-2 against Ole Miss under his tenure if it weren't for the infamous.
Right.
Wasn't it them with the dog
Oh, the
barking?
dog,
thing?
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, tell me why he deserves a raise. Now, I mean, Mike
Well,
Lee should probably call in and go, "I deserve a raise because I want one." You know, but other than have some really good one-liners and make the SEC media days more fun, has he been that great? I mean, or has it been exactly what I thought it'd be,
what
which
is
is
he- what has he
he's
done?
10 years too late.
Yeah,
to this
yeah. Well,
conference?
I still think it's a failed marriage. I think it will end a failed marriage.
And I think he's fine. And if you want to maintain this, but giving him a 10% raise to $5.5 million, you're paying him $5.5 million to essentially probably stay about a 7-6 guy. I just find that to be a little odd.
Mississippi State think does that send a message that they can't really do any better than that?
Because now, if I'm
if he were to leave, if they were to fire him, and I know this is the one statement that everybody says when you're trying to decide if your guy's the guy or if you want to move on. Well, who are you gonna get?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they gonna get? You know, even when Nick Saban steps down, that's gonna be what everybody says. Well, who are we gonna get?
I understand.
I mean, it's the natural thing to say. Who would Mississippi State get?
I guess the thing I would
Somebody would take the job because they're gonna pay him $4 or $5 million.
My retort would be, number one, you can't even put a number on what Nick Saban's value is. On Mike Leach's value, I think I could put a number on it, and I think the number would be less than $5.5 million.
Right. I mean, did you really need to give him a raise to stay? I think is where you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just.
I don't think.
Where's this coming from? Right. Because really, I think eventually this marriage is going to end.
I mean, I'll go back and take it one step further and go back to Gus Malzahn. I don't think, in 2017, everybody just sprinted to the line to see how much more money they could give Gus Malzahn. Why?
But at least Gus Malzahn.
I get it, but I'm just saying, they were using the Arkansas thing as leverage, and I'm like, well, okay. Well, if you want to go to Arkansas, go, buddy.
Where was Leach going to go? That's what I'm saying. They're bidding against themselves.
Going anywhere.
Now, I think Gus played Auburn. I think
he played Auburn.
He played, but Leach didn't even have to play Mississippi State.
No, they just handed it to him. I just think they felt like they don't have any other
I'm not
options.
saying I don't like Mike Leach. I'm just saying
But they're coming off a 7-6 season where nobody else is clamoring for your services. Why are you giving them a raise?
And do we think Mississippi State's going to be a lot better than 7-6 this year? I mean, if they're 8-5,
well, aren't they getting predicted? Isn't there's a lot of people saying when they got the most starters back and schedule's favorable, they're going to win 8 or 9 games this year?
If they go 8-5, if they go 9-4, is he worth $5.5 million? And if you gave him a raise after 7-6, when he goes 9-4, you better take him up to 6.5.
Yeah, and I think you're going to do that. So, up against the final break of the program. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
So, you finally got the boat, ATV, or side-by-side of your dreams, huh? Then make it yours with marine-grade audio that'll provide crisp, high-quality sound that's loud enough to be heard, whether you're cruising on the lake or hitting a mud hole. Come see Steve at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, so you'll be ready to crank up the volume. Whoa, but wait, you don't have to pull out of the water and trailer it to Auburn. The Car Stereo Shop can handle all of your work at any one of the Lake Martin marinas.
Finding a job might be tough, but starting your new career has never been easier. Wellborn Cabinet in Ashland has a wide array of career opportunities with benefits. General labor production, skilled cabinet builders, product assembly line, shipping, over-the-road truck drivers, clerical, marketing, security, daycare, office clerks, and so much more. Apply in person, 38669 Highway 77 South in Ashland, or online at wellborn.com. Building cabinets, building careers, and building our community.
At Russell Medical, our transitional care unit is a great alternative to nursing home care after a medical or surgical hospital stay. Transitional care increases strength and endurance through skilled nursing and therapy programs to promote a safe return home. Enjoy on-site therapy, private rooms, an activity center, and more. Call Russell Medical today to see if our transitional care unit is the right care for you.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce. Because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Final segment of the show. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for their commitment and partnership with us here on Sports Blitz Live. Rank them. So we got a few that we can choose from. Were you a big Beach Boys fan?
No.
No. Just not at all.
I mean, look, I can listen to it because their music is sort of like it does give you, it's nostalgic in the sense, you're like, okay, I wish it could be. But for the most part, like, their music kind of sucks. I mean, really, it does.
Why does it suck?
Because it's just not, nobody's like, you know what I want to hear right now? Some Beach Boys. Nobody ever does that, ever.
All right, so we'll rank these crappy songs from the Beach Boys.
No, you got something else, don't you?
Well, I mean, I want to hear who you think's better.
Okay.
I mean, it's
All right,
got to
go
be
ahead.
fun. It's fun to rank the crap, right?
Go ahead, yeah, that's true.
Good vibrations.
I think that song sucks so hard. Hey, dude, it's just so commercialized now.
Good.
All I think is Sunkissed.
Good. Yeah, I mean, but it makes you think of Sunkissed, doesn't it?
Well, do they make it anymore?
Sunkissed?
Yeah.
There's 10
Oh,
cases
that's
back
true.
there. I mean,
You sure that's not Dr. Sunkissed?
I hope not.
Mr. Sunkissed or
Oh,
Ms.
somebody.
Sunkissed or something?
All right, Barbara Ann.
Oh, that song's terrible. Bye, bye, bye. No, that song's awful.
Sloop John B.
I don't even know what that is.
Surfing USA.
That's
Teen
it.
Wolf.
Only applies to
Teen-
one place.
Teen Wolf.
I didn't even heard it.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice? All right.
California Girls.
California Girls is better when what's his name sung it.
Okay.
What's his name? Not the Van
Talking
Halen
about,
guy.
you talking about David Lee Roth?
David Lee Roth, yeah.
Andy's probably just, his skin's crawling right now. John Cusack.
I like John Cusack.
All right, Say Anything, The Sure Thing, Gross Point Blank.
Gross Point Blank is really funny.
He's got a bunch. Better Off Dead and Con Air. Con Air was
Look,
kind of good, man.
Con Air, you watch it, but the acting was so.
Put the bunny down.
Nicolas Cage.
He's good.
He's so over the top as an Alabama. Just for the love of all things.
But he played the part well.
Well, he did. They all overplayed the part,
which
is
makes
what
it
Dave
kinda
Chappelle
good.
was in it.
There was a lot of big names in that movie.
Danny Turturro.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Put the bunny down.
Even the female guard.
Yeah.
That Bubba from Forrest Gump was in it.
Ain't no doubt. He's having to get his insulin shot.
I watch Con Air when it's on, and I hate myself for doing it. You understand what I'm saying? Like I know exactly what's going to happen.
But you get caught into it again.
You do get caught into it, and at the end, when he gets on the motorcycle with the
Right,
other dude,
right.
and you're like, this is so bad. Why am I watching this? And then I end up watching it.
Others receiving votes for John Cusack: 8 Men Out, One Crazy Summer, and Being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich.
That's a pretty good
It should
movie.
be on there over some of those others.
All right, do you know who Mel Brooks is?
Oh God, yeah.
Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein,
God.
Spaceballs, High Anxiety, and Life Stinks.
Okay. I think Life Stinks will be the last on that, and Young Frankenstein will be second to last.
Spaceballs first.
Blazing Saddles is first. Blazing Saddles is so awesome, and you could never in a million years make that movie again.
There's so many movies now.
I know
that are out.
You couldn't
that
even
you
do.
never. You couldn't even.
You couldn't do Caddyshack now, and Caddyshack is also. But Blazing Saddles is in such a category of its own. It had everything.
Right.
It had everything, and it was so ahead of its time. Like it was a 2-hour Dave Chappelle skit. That's what it was, and it's so good. And if I showed it to my kids now, they'd be mortified. They'd be mortified. They can't understand some of the things we say now. They're like, "You'll be canceled at my school." I'm like, "That's just regular stuff. We're not even saying anything bad."
It makes me so mad that that generation says you'll be canceled at my school.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's ridiculous,
stupid.
man.
But anyway, so Blazing Saddles.
How do you make a living in this world as a comedian now? I'm serious.
You don't.
I'd be scared to death to be a comedian.
Blazing Saddles is.
Isn't that what makes comedians so funny?
I'm with
is they say stuff everybody else is thinking.
I'm with you.
And you're like, okay, he's good because he's on stage and he can get away with it.
Well, then Blazing Saddles is 1. Spaceballs is 2.
Spaceballs.
Now my kids have seen Spaceballs.
That stuff's
and
funny, man.
What's funny about that? I'm like, when they're combing the desert. They're like, yeah, I felt bad about. You feel bad about laughing? There's a joke about it. That's the whole
what I'm
thing.
saying. You can't.
Spaceballs is great.
Our kids, man.
I know Spaceballs is great. And then High Anxiety, low key, awesome movie, really good movie. A lot of the same people in these.
So you're a big Mel Brooks fan.
Yeah, High Anxiety is great.
All right, I got to throw one more in there. Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Pleasantville, Spider-Man, Cider House Rules, Seabiscuit, and Wonder Boys.
Ooh, Seabiscuit. I'm going to tell you something.
Seabiscuit's phenomenal.
Seabiscuit is
It's a phenomenal.
fantastic.
You like Spider-Man.
I like Spider-Man too, and that Spider-Man sort of kicked off a better series of superhero movies, which I'm thankful for.
Right.
And I thought that, man, what a great job on the Green Goblin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By what's his name? Leary.
No,
not Leary. Not Dennis Leary. What's his name?
Jim Carrey?
Not Jim Carrey.
I know who you're talking about. Dadgummit.
He's a man who looks the same age always.
Right.
And he's kind of rode hard and put up wet.
Right. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
He probably thinks the same thing about us.
That's exactly right.
But anyway, he did a good job. And then
Cider House Rules.
Cider House Rules, man.
Pleasantville.
Pleasantville's not bad.
Wonder Boys.
I'm not watching it again, but I never saw Wonder Boys.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't rank nothing, but
no, we just kind of said if we liked it or not. So anyway, that kind of wraps it up. For
it's still better than Are They Dead or Not?
Yeah, Andy, bring that segment back next week, please.
Is he back next week?
No, I mean bring the segment back so I can do it.
Well, next week we're all off.
Do it in 2 weeks. Whenever you want to bring it back. Anyway, we're about to get the heck out of here. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have. See you next time.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Hi, John. You have messages.
Not now, phone. I'm driving.
You know you want to text your friends.
Texting and driving is illegal. No distractions, period. People die that way. Eating, putting on makeup.
Scroll through your music?
Nope.
Your girlfriend just texted. She's bored.
Sorry, not worth dying for.
Good call. She seems a little clingy.
Don't text your life goodbye. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat in 2 sides or a meat in 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Whoever you are, wherever you race, hit the track like a champion. The YZ250F and the YZ450F Monster Energy Yamaha Racing Editions. Only from Yamaha.
Fast, fresh, and friendly. That's the Allen Brew Market mission to our customers on the go. Allen Brew Markets of Talladega County fuel your vehicle and you with the best coffee, drinks, snacks, and food so you can get your day on the fast track. Allen Brew Markets are always convenient with Sylacauga locations on Main Avenue, Highway 280, and Old Birmingham Highway. Allen Brew Markets has everything for the family on the go, and we're always brewing up great specials. Fast, fresh, and friendly, our guarantee to you.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.